Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. Zwifters Live broadcast WTRL Team Time Trial number 52. 52 weeks in a row. It is a happy birthday to the WTRL TTT, and this is our second time broadcasting it, but it's, the reality is that they've been doing an amazing job for a year, and they've got a huge following out on Zwift, obviously. I think they said they had over 400 teams. 400. That's not people. Yesterday we had 400 participants in a race. Today we have 400 teams in a race. I think they said, I don't even know what the math is because it's like 3 on one team, 6 on another, Dave. This is a huge event out on Zwift.
Yeah, our man up in Calgary, Martin Carew, does a great job. He was just telling me 413 teams, as you just noted. That's 2,500 racers over 7 Zwift events. It is on like Donkey Kong out here today. I can't wait. It's a really cool format. I'm a big fan of the Team Time Trial. I'm really happy to see this being embraced here. We've got teams from all over the world, and Nathan, we have records being set. As a matter of fact, just about every previous world record out here on this course, and we'll talk more about the course. I'm going to leave that to you. You're the expert. They're the riders in the pen, but we're seeing records being shattered in all of the categories. There you go. Taking a look. Nathan, I'll throw it back to you, but expect more records to be broken out of this group. We've got some real heavy hitters here on the Tempest Fugit course.
Yeah, so as Dave was saying, most of the course records here for Tempest Fugit 2 laps, 37.1K, were set this morning, actually. So obviously the hitters are coming out in the races here. So this is the current course records. We'll be looking for these in each one of the groups. We'll be watching out for those times as we get through for all of our splits today. Then we also have the results from the zones that already went down today. So this is a different zone. This racing series is zoned throughout the day. So there's so many teams going on. There's different zones to serve different time zones. So these are the results from this morning in zone number 1. So obviously with the Vienna, which is the ladies side of the race, AHDRL with the Purple Armada, 52 minutes, and that is the current course record. Hell Kitten's there for second, and HDR Purple Armada 2 taking it down for 54.16. And then we've got in the Espresso, which is essentially your A category. It looks like Seekly. I think I got that right. Seekly. That was corrected. Dave got me. Yeah. Seekly. All right. So Stefanelli triathlon there, 46.10, and that is also a course record. SSS 46.56, and then LDL. That's the top 3 currently. I think it's going to get smashed in a minute 34 here over the next 37K. We'll have to wait and see though. Perhaps the triathlon crew was able to hold down Frappe with your bees with Dirt Diggler, 30 streamers, as well as Do Try there. That's your top 3. 48.58. That's a course record as well. Then the lattes, your C category. Pirate Juice, hammering at 51, tied with the Dirty Bibs. That's pretty crazy. Over 37K to have a tied situation. So nice job there to those two in the latte. TriStar there, bringing in the back end with that 54.06. And the only place we did not see a course record yet today is with the mochas. So come on now, mochas. We got to get a little bit extra chocolate with your espresso, it looks like, because at 59 minutes, we got to see something going on here. Now, remember, next week, everybody, make sure to check out because we've got something new coming at you. An invite-only Premier League is going to be happening within the Team Time Trial WTRL. We still got to figure out exact numbers. We're looking at either the top 10 or top 15 from each category for an invite-only to the one of the zones. And so it's going to be all about who's throwing down the best times are going to get the invites week to week. So be watching out that story of line 8, number 53. Next Thursday is what's happening out there next Thursday. So Dave, going to have some awesome racing out here. We've got 10 seconds to go to the start. Now, the way that this works, everybody, for those of you that are unfamiliar, what you're going to see here is that they're going to take off, but not the TTT. These people who are leaving are not supposed to be in the event. Well, I mean, they can be in the event, but they can be in the event, but they're not riders who are actually a part of the race for the TTT. They're riders who jumped in and were like, oh, cool, I'm going to jump into this race, which is great because this is not a private closed event. It's not an invite-only event. And so everybody else who's sitting here is waiting for their time to go. They all push a button saying, okay, what time is my time to go? It's all organized. And 2 minutes after the initial go, the first group goes. So we've got about 2 minutes to wait before, in a very well-organized community here. I mean, look at this. Where do you get 400, 500 people hanging out this patient to start pedaling their bikes, Dave?
Nathan, for that earlier group of riders, it's kind of like showing up at a bar mitzvah and thinking you were going to a wedding, right? So you're like, oh, all right, I'm just going to slide over here. Yeah, you'll see me later. So, but hey, no problem. Go have some fun out there. They're going to be out on this course. Nathan, I did a little research this morning. Tempus fugit. I was wondering, what does that mean? It's a Latin phrase, usually translated into English as time flies. So I'm going to twist that a little bit. I hope you fly out there, not time today, right? Because that's what we're racing against. Contra la montra, as they say, the race of truth, but this time in the team format, which really means, I mean, there's a lot of intricacies to running a team well out here. A smooth machine is what you're looking for. The stronger riders need to realize that they're there more to shepherd the not as strong riders along and try to get the most out of them without blowing a gasket out there. It's really fun to watch. I've never seen a discipline in cycling that requires more finesse than what we're going to be watching out here, Nathan. So should be starting our first teams here in a moment. I'll throw it back to you there in Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's a great point there, actually, especially in the game of Zwift. Again, I'm referencing the Ted King video that I just saw the other day. That I talked about yesterday that had Kevin Richard Hall in it as well. And Ted essentially brought Kevin to his house to do or wherever they were recording, to teach him how to ride Zwift and how to use the draft. And I think being a newer discipline, there is the reality that this has a lot of finesse to it, specifically with the controllers that are your feet, there are your legs. And so we're used to, if you are playing any video games out there, thumbs or mouse and keyboard. Now you've got to have a lot of finesse. And, for anybody used to riding in a pack, there's a definite art to that, to being able to really have that finesse and reserve the energy out there. So I do think that there is also the reality in game here that how you're using that energy correctly to get your team the fastest time you possibly can. It's all about resource tactics, really, and really being good with your aiming. I'm going to even go that far with your aiming and how well you can aim with that finesse and the pedaling in Zwift, actually.
Sure. I mean, the gamer aspect of this is always going to be in the forefront. Looking at now, picking up some riders. Nathan, I like to use the term the velvet hammer, right? If you're the strongest rider, watch this. This is a great example of they are just getting organized in front of our eyes. We're watching Joël Levesque here and his squad. And you can see they're doing a pretty darn good job, I would say, Nathan. If I was going to grade this is a B+ effort that we're looking at right now. They just need to sort it out. But this French-based team here clearly knows the drill. Very good job. Très bien. I would have to say this is going to be a fun team to watch. Again, watching for more records to be broken out here. A little bit of a split in the group. So, Nathan, that's what you want to avoid, right? But
yeah,
that was
I definitely
welded
want
back.
to avoid that. But it looks like they're bringing it back together here.
It's okay.
And,
that's okay. We've seen worse.
Yeah, we definitely.
One rider in trouble already.
Dropping off there, Towle. We're going to have to see if he can jump back on.
Yeah, the brutal reality of a team time trial is if you just don't have it, you don't have it. And this can be in the Tour de France or any major stage race. You can watch some of the most heartbreaking rides in the event happen in the team time trial, where there's a rider who maybe comes in. Actually, speaking of Ted King, he got time cut in the Tour de France out of the team time trial. There was a crash early when the race started down. I believe it was in Sicily that year. He broke his collarbone and then ended up having to ride the team time trial alone, did not make the cut. And it was only by like 8 seconds or something. And they did not allow him to continue in the event. This is only stage 3 that this happened. So yeah, if you, I think that rider was able to Oh, no, sorry. A little
No,
bit
at
further back.
5.3
See, when
watts
you
per
lose a man,
kilogram,
you lose
had
a
a
man. Yep.
dropout. Had a dropout. It looks like, Dave. So too
Bummer.
bad to see.
Tough way to start.
Quick little information here, specifically on this course. This course is going to be all about speed today. And as riders get out on course again, patience with us on covering the time trial out here today. As they do get out on course, we'll start getting splits. We do have splits today. It looks like at the 10, 20, and 30 kilometer mark. Just so everybody knows, this is at its release time the flattest course out on Zwift. The flattest course out on Zwift with only 16 meters, 52 feet of elevation gain from start line to finish line. There are some negative percent false flats as well, but they're barely noticeable as you fly through negative and plus 1%. I think there's even a 2% when you go through the little oasis area, but definitely going to be all about speed today, Dave.
Yeah, and I mean that's 2%. That's basically a false flat, isn't it? And when you look at this discipline of team time trialing, let's go ahead and get our legs underneath us before we start throwing hills at the riders. I think this is the perfect course for doing what we're doing. 2 laps out here. Again, we're staying with this really well-organized French team. They lost one rider a couple kilometers ago, but they definitely now are in a nice rotation here. The stronger riders, they don't go faster when they hit the front. If they're doing it right, they're going to just take longer pulls, allow the riders who are maybe struggling a little bit in that group. You don't even want them when they hit the front, Nathan, just have them rotate right off. One of the experienced riders that I knew would often talk about, look, this is the speed, especially on a course like this, Nathan, where a lot of the metrics are controllable here. You're basically racing on the flat. So one of the things that you can really do is the efforts that are being made. You can say, look, guys, I want you rolling through at, let's say right now, 41K per hour. If it drops below that, get off the front. Don't bog us down. I would rather have you rotate off and keep the speed up than kill yourself trying to just watch that speed kind of bog down. That's really the term that was used, bogging down when you're on the front. Don't be that guy. Get out of there and let the riders that are feeling strong and that can push through the wind do their job.
Yeah, and we do see Revo jumping out on course now. It does look like they've showed up with what I can see to be 7 riders. So the women's side of things. This is going to be our feed here from the Vienna group. We do have, it looks like, a team a little bit ahead here in this group. Now, I'm not sure if that's a team or just riders. No, I believe this is the first group to take off, actually. So Watmore now making her way to the front. We do see Carla Williams as well as Solomon. And solid group of women. They were very strong last week, I think taking second, if I'm not incorrect. I'm going to have to double check on that, but I believe this may be, now there are multiple Revo teams though out in the team time trial, so we'll have to wait and see, but the Revo team here, I think did take second to the obviously hard hitting choppers containing some world level, world class triathletes in the women's side of things.
That's really the team to watch, I would have to say. The Choppers.
Yeah, be watching out for the Choppers. Choppers are going to be in Zone 3 today. We did have, as far as, and that's one of the things also with having the event next week being the Premier League, is that looking to have all of the top talent showing up to the broadcasted and earning a spot essentially, and that's really what we really need in a lot of ways too. We've been talking about this, having cleared out organizational structure, kind of a thing. And so, WTRL, with how well structured they are, great to partner with to help start creating that, and seeing that next week we'll have a little bit more, control over who, where, what, how, and why, and why we're covering where, whose efforts out on course. Not that everybody's efforts don't matter. It's just there's only so much
Sure.
space when it comes to the camera time, right, Dave?
Absolutely. Hey, world downhill champion, 1993, I believe it was, joining us, watching Mike King. Mike works at the really is. How would I put it? A legend for sure, but in multiple sports. So a multi-discipline legend. Good to have you out there, Mike. Mike works in the world of BMX now. He was also a top BMX rider for sure. And I would like to get some of those guys out on Zwift. Can you imagine the power numbers? I would think in cycling, the biggest power numbers you see for the shorter efforts and duration are going to come from the cyclocross and BMX guys.
I am actually seeing a great little comment coming on through here from Dan Fleeman. Other than Dan
Oh,
Fleeman, good to see Dan hanging out in the
big fan.
broadcast, and he's a big fan of yours. It looks like as well
Oh, good.
as
Good.
he's coming in
That
and
would hurt my
saying,
feelings if you, yeah.
great coverage, Nathan. The addition of Dave Towle is great. I remember Dave commentating on the Tour of Ireland years ago. Let's see if we can get the rest of this in here. And we're seeing many years ago. Knows his bike racing. Dan Fleeman, obviously UCI World Tour from
Thanks,
the
Dan.
pro, and then
Yeah.
obviously one of the strongest indoor specialists, pros as well. Essentially, we've got our eSports team. So just going from outside to inside and hammering
Yeah.
away in the recent races. Revo getting outside on course here for the ladies' side of things. It does look like we do have España. Zwift España out on course with a lot of riders here.
Oh boy,
hanging out in the bikes.
this
and
is the
beers
team
tips.
that I was going to say, Nathan, this is the team that I want to hang out with for sure. I don't know if I want to ride in this team because look at the numbers here as they're starting to ramp things up. I wanted to mention as well, in doing a little pre-race work, as you always do, Tim Gould is racing with us. For those, we have, wouldn't you agree, Nathan, that we've seen the complete cross-pollination between the IRL cycling world and our esports world now? I mean, it's just completely overlapping. You have no idea who's going to be winning these races. Just because World Tour guys are jumping in, they're not winning from what we've seen. They certainly spice things up. They stir the pot, but it's the guys like Lionel Viasen, Boniface, the Canadian. These, it's the usual suspects. So going back to what we're looking at right now out here on lap number 1, the Spanish squad. All right, let's see. These guys clearly are on a mission, no doubt about it.
Yeah, these
Reminds me
days
of the old
they are. It looks like solid here, right around 1.8, 2.4 watts per kilogram. So this Vienna crew here going to be trying to chase down the Revo ladies, who are a little ways ahead at this point. The next ladies out on course.
This is our E group,
looks
right?
like going to be.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the E group. The E group. So it's going to be the Viennas that are out on course. It does look like we have a Norwegian team just getting out as well. B. Compton, it looks like. Is that in a Vikings kit? Am I correct to think that it is going to be the Vikings? It looks like. So good to see some ladies here representing Norway and the Vikings team out on course here right now, hammering away. Solid effort right now, it looks like. I'm going to be chasing down the Revo and the España team as well on the ladies' side of the race out here today. So jumping back in. Go ahead.
I was going to say Norway is a lot like Ireland. They don't have a tremendous number of citizens. They're not huge countries, but boy, are they quality people. And you look at one of the greatest mountain bikers of all time, Gunrita Dale. She was Norwegian. We've seen at the high end some real Norwegian talent. I mean, if you want to think about living up in Scandinavia, Nathan, to be dedicated to cycling, Zwift must have been an absolute godsend for so many folks. It's not just suffering. I mean, there's times you can't ride, as you would well know in Wisconsin, because of ice and stuff on the road. So there is no doubt that these Norwegian teams are some of the fear. Wouldn't you agree if you were going to pick up on a cycling nation on Zwift? Hasn't Norway always seemed to punch above its weight?
Oh yeah, 100%. Norway as a cycling team
Sweden too.
on Zwift. It's all the Scandinavian countries, and I think it has to do with the temperatures. There's just a reality that the pool of riders is just a lot. A lot of riders are jumping on. Obviously, very committed to cycling as well. So you're seeing huge numbers coming out of Sweden. As well as obviously BZR, the Belgian Zwift racing team, the Dutch racing team. All of those countries definitely have just a very, very strong presence within the and from day one, really when it came to broadcasting, that was picked up on immediately, that these are the countries that were very committed to racing out on Zwift. That's for sure. Now we do
think of those northern European countries like Belgium and Holland, where you combine the two factors, a massive bike culture, a racing culture, and some pretty rough weather for a decent portion of the year. Oh, Nathan, we don't see this too often. When you've got a rabbit to chase, makes you feel even faster. It certainly brings out, I think you find 5-10 extra watts when you have this exact scenario here. We're watching Compton and her team, the Vikings, and they got a team right up the road there, Nathan. You can see they're bearing down on them right now. This is like the gravitational pull of the Dark Star when they were in the Millennium Falcon, right? You just feel yourself being drawn to that group. It can get a little bit weird when you have teams passing each other. They usually, when you're out on the road, will use 2, 4, even 6-minute gaps between the teams to avoid this scenario. Luckily, we don't have team
cars. You can see the splits
cars
here on the left-hand side now, and this is the live WTRL data, and you can see the catch being made on the new live data, which is pretty great. You can see the kilometers to go to the finish line, and you can see exactly where that cut was made with 34. It updates as quickly as possible. It's about every 15 seconds or so, and the BT Lioness crew there also coming out of nowhere, it looks like, with the Bergen Triathlon Lioness just being caught. The Vikings just going on by them. They're coming up to their 10K split. So solid effort there coming from them, but they're going to have a little bit more work cut out from them. But Zia Spania, it looks like, have shut down a solid, almost full, I don't think they started more than a kilometer back, or maybe they're keeping pretty consistent. We'll have to wait for the split there at that 10K mark once we do see the Revo ladies come on through, and Zia Spania as well. Then we can see we're at the Espressos. Bad news bears are out on course. We'll see if we can find them. It does look like 35.8 to go for them. So they're just getting out on course. Here's all the splits that are currently on there. Dig Deep Coaching's out there as well. It looks like we do see all of the green means that these riders have begun, I believe. No, they're or waiting in the pens. Once it does go red, it means that they have finished. So for our new graphics, those will become pretty obvious as we go along week after week. But we do have some new graphics up on the screen here for all of you, as you can see as we go through each one of the splits right now for all of the teams. So do we actually see that these Mochas, they're pretty far ahead here at this point. So good to see the Mochas hammering away. And we'll see how things end up playing out for that team as they head toward their 10-kilometer mark to go. So again, course records.
Nathan, for those.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, all right. Yeah, quick question. For those out there, I had a friend asking, and I didn't have a great answer. For those that are on the Tron bikes, in this case, it's the glowing pink that you see. Can you feel the difference when you're out there riding, when you're on a Tron bike versus a bike that wouldn't be as, what would be the word, optimized?
So as far as the Tron bike goes, is it the most optimized bike? Is that what you're saying?
No. How much do you feel it when you're riding? How much of a difference does it make to have
Gotcha. Yeah. So the Tron bike. So last night when I upgraded my my bike, wheels are actually the thing that matters the most. When it comes to the bikes out on course. And so yeah, we definitely felt the difference last night when I upgraded to the 858 Supers. I mean, that was, but I also put them on a bike that tends to be really punchy. So I put it on the Venge S-Works, and that, from what I'm told and from what I read at Zwift Insider, who has done tests. Now, their tests are done at a very consistent wattage of like 300 watts, right? And so they just set it at 300 and let it go. And they do it on different courses. And so, how scientific is that? Well, it's pretty good, but there might be a reality that at 200 watts it's different, and at 150 watts it's different. So there's a little bit of wiggle room there, but from what we've seen,
it's not a super comprehensive test.
It's not totally comprehensive. I mean, it's well done. Right, yeah. It's well done. It is really well done. It's fairly comprehensive, but they test every bike, right? When there's a new release, they have to test every bike. So I mean, it's a long effort to get every bike, all the data across between them all, but it's a well done job. And from what we're seeing, the Venge S-Works with that with the 858s on is going to be for flatter courses, and then the Mellensteins, I believe, on the tarmac is going to be, and then the Tron is a close like third or fourth, which is kind of odd to me that you got to ride like 50,000 whatever meters uphill. I don't even know what it's some sort of insane number, and your glowing bike isn't like got super lasers to make you go faster somehow or something. But anyways,
yeah,
you do feel it though. You do feel it. Last night on the Innsbruck Ring, I swapped over. I was riding the mountain bike because we were on the jungle loop last night, and And then I did a second race afterwards, and I swapped over to the Venge. I immediately felt like it felt like buttery smooth, right through the pack. Had a good pickup speed, and you definitely feel it. There's no question about it. Like when you go from just a basic first login bike, and then you upgrade, spend some drops. Drops are earned in game through sweating. It's an in-game currency. We Team see SZ now going by there. I want to definitely pick up what's going on with Team SZ as they go by.
Yeah, let's see that.
But they definitely help. That's for sure. They definitely have a huge impact.
Yeah, to summarize, we saw Eric Min talking about he just got a new bike, the safety bike. It's pretty funny. But yeah, the drops are drops of sweat. That's the in-game currency that you use to get better equipment, like Nathan just did. Some new wheels. Congratulations. So Nathan, I think as oftentimes we find with Zwift, the answer is just like in real life, right? Like if you were riding around on a pair of old Mavic Serum wheels, right, and you got a brand new pair of Zip 858s, you would feel the difference if you were riding at a moderate to high level. You'd definitely make a difference for you. Same thing out here, it sounds like. All right, picking up the action, spending a lot of time with the Vikings. Again, for everybody who's joining us, today's Team Time Trial Day. You're going to see teams of varying sizes, and that's fine. But obviously, the more strong riders you have, the faster time. The current world record that we have on this course would be that Cicli Stefanelli triathlon team, the Italians, with a 46:10. Nathan, I'm bold. I like making predictions. I'm going to say that we see a sub 45-minute time by the middle of this summer. We'll see some team like Education
flying.
First, or someone's going to join your invite only World Tactical Racing League. And big thank you to them for hosting racing again. What a great group. And Martin, you're killing it. But I have to say, when we start bringing in organized world tour teams, you're going to see, sub 44, actually, even more like sub 43 by the time you let the A team from some of the world tour teams have at it. It's going to be fun to watch. I can't wait.
We are back in, it looks like, with our other feed here. And we're going to go ahead and bring them on in with the French team that we were following initially. We're looking to get in with the Espressos, everybody. We do have a little bit of jumping around to do out on course. So we're getting in with them as quickly as we possibly can. I do believe I have Tibor here. Juan is out on course, so good to see him out there hammering away. I think he is in that Dutch team for Volin. Absolutely killed it last week, so we'll see if we can jump on in with them. I do believe the reason I'm unable to do the fan view is I need to connect to my Wi-Fi. For those of you unfamiliar with the companion app and the way that it works to create an in-game controller, you do need to connect it to your network in your house, actually. So it needs to be on the same network as the Zwift app is running itself. The Zwift client app itself is running. And if it is running that way, then you are able to use it as a controller in game. So on the same Wi-Fi network, companion app, and then you're good to go. And it looks like I have just fixed that situation. So we should be able to jump in with a few of the front runners in the Espresso here in just a moment. So as soon as we do a couple more jumping around. But the French team here hammering away. Let's take a quick look at our splits here as we look to try and get a couple better images here of the current race situation. So from what we can see, we'll do a full screen here for just a moment. And it looks like in the Mochas here, 28-3 here left for the Viking Berserker. But the current split there, from what I can see, 13-27 at 10K, 14-19 there coming through at, it looks like, these are supposed to be updated. I'm going to go ahead and just go see if we can get a reload
for the
on
two
this.
Mochas there. It looks like we've got a tie. Yep. We'll jump back.
Apologies.
But no worries. This is Vienna that we've got now. First split coming in 15-29 for the Revo ladies. We were following them for a while, Nathan.
Yeah, we can.
Oh, there you go. Starting to populate.
Yeah, I do believe it's supposed to go the opposite direction. So we'll see if on the back end we can get a little bit of help on that, because it looks like maybe it populates at the bottom.
So
just
Revo
for the first part
with that
of this,
15-29, the ZESP 5 team with the 15-47. Again, that's at 10K. We'll have another split coming up at 20K, but yeah, we'll start populating for all of our categories. The Vienna group, the women's group here
Yeah, I am getting
that
information
we're
here that
looking
the
at right
splits having a
now.
couple of issues making sure that they come on through in the correct order here, just so everybody
Oh,
knows.
there we
But
go. Moving over to the espresso splits now.
bad news bears,
Oh boy,
33-2 to go, so
1229 from the
no
race
time for
3R
them
team.
just yet.
3R, one of the mighty teams out here in esports, the Venga boys. And then we take a look over here. Vikings at 1258. This is going to be in the Frappe group, the Los Carreras with the 1258, and Evo Vortex at 1304. He's all 10K into Tempest Fugit here. 2 laps out on the course today for the World Tactical Racing League's Team Time Trial. You can see all of our different categories. It's really based on FTP, watts per kilo. You slot in with your team. Teams from around the world. There's Latte that we're looking at. First split coming in at Sedan Isimi. The team, 1410. They're split at 10K. Nathan does such a good job here of working through all of the different categories. We're back at Mocha now. Mark team, that 1327. That's a strong ride. RT Berlin, same thing goes to you folks, as these two teams are deadlocked, locking horns right now here. These are some of the first times we're seeing coming in. BCC at 1419. The Broomfield Badgers at 1514. And CICCB at 1540. Again, that's right now we're looking at our Mocha group. Thanks, Nathan.
Now,
Good to look at all those splits coming in at
we
10K.
got K Powell's here. This is the Volendam
Going back
group
now,
from
picking up.
last week.
All right, to New Jersey. We haven't watched this squad yet. They certainly look like they're on an ambitious pace, don't they? 47 kilometers per hour is what they're looking at. About a third of the way in. Well-organized squad here.
Looking through, yeah, this is the team from last week that absolutely hammered. It was chasing down the
This
PO
is going to be one
Auto
of our
group.
Northern European teams, as we see Verman there. Again, these guys are flying, motoring through the sector of the course. You can see how these little splits are what you really try to avoid out here as well. Nathan, I cannot hear you.
Okay, just checking. I'm messaging Dave. For some reason, Dave cannot hear me, but I definitely have green coming on through on here. So we'll double check on that. I'll let him know that for some reason we're having unable to bring in the in-game sound there, but we'll keep on letting Dave go over the top here as much as we possibly can. But now Veerman, we're seeing here, WTRL, we're seeing it looks like the Dutch team hammering away.
Sounds like we're having a little bit of a technical hiccup right now. I'm not sure if you guys can hear me or Nathan. I'm just going to lay back for a moment.
So it does look like this Volendam team here, the Dutch team now absolutely dominating this last week. This is the team to watch out for a course record out here today. The PO Auto team, though, was the team that was, I think, able to take down the top time last week. But we'll see if this team is going to be able to chase them down as we do get our new splits coming in. That's what we're going to be watching out for, as it looks to be. The Vienna's here, 15:29 still was the fastest time through the 10K mark. We're still waiting for the next update on the leaderboard for the Espressos and the others here. Lots of time to go here, though, in the team time trial here. It's a total of 37K.
Well, I apologize. I'm just going to jump in, assuming that you can hear me, folks, as again, we've got 413 teams with 2,500 riders out on course. So racing in 7 different sectors of the Zwift world as well. So we'll continue to soldier on just like our teams, right? As I was saying, you're going to go through a rough patch out here. Maybe the very strongest of the riders might be able to avoid that.
And we're going to go ahead and Dave reconnect though. Right. And so Dave's going to go ahead and reconnect.
Tell you what, I will be right back here, folks. I'm just going to go ahead and refresh my browser to see if I'll be able to pick up Nathan. Again, I apologize for our technical difficulties here, but I will be right back.
Apologies on that, everybody. We obviously cannot hear. Well, I can hear Dave just fine. Dave cannot hear us anything from the broadcast at the moment, so that's the reason why he's essentially in the dark at this moment. So we're gonna let him reconnect to us as we do our quarantine commentating. So Veerman here, WTRL now from Dutch now at the front, as you can see. Van Breda, Zwan there, WTRL Volendam as well. Snoke is there, and Hansen Powell's as well, and Kess from Beat It right on the back. So interesting to see that they have so many different riders here from different teams a lot of times making up these teams. So kind of cool when you do have guest riders here between the teams. Appreciate everybody in chat having patience with us. I do see all your comments coming on through as we make our way around the course here in our birthday stream for the WTRL. Let's go ahead and see if we can bring in some more splits here as they make their way around course. It looks like we've got race 3R with a 12:29 with the espressos. That's the fastest time on the day, that's for sure. As the times do come through, they will populate correctly, but we do need to wait, it looks like, for all of the times to come through the 10-kilometer mark for them to populate completely correctly for first through the 8th place. So Team Peel Auto, I think be watching out for them, though. They were obviously the ones to beat last week. We'll see if they can throw down this week and better the hard chasers that were the Volendam crew that we're looking at right now. Out on course, though, for the Vienna side of things here, we're going to double back on over to that feed as we do have all the splits in for them. And it looks like on the women's side of things here, I do believe I got Dave back as well. Dave, can you hear me now? And we will see if he's Dave Towle, you with me? Perhaps having still some technical issues. I can see Dave, but I think his headphones are no longer bringing me into his ears here. So maybe we'll see if he can jump into Discord or not. So I have a feeling perhaps there was a disconnection for Dave on his headphones for some reason. Probably a swap up on some of the sound settings there on the PC. So. Looking through here, though, it does look like for the ladies, this is the current situation. Robin Hood Hedgehogs with a 15:01 in the event at Vienna is absolutely killing it. Revo class there, locals there, 15:29, going to have to make up 30 seconds, or a little under 30 seconds. The Viking Freyas, it looks like at that 15:44. Very close race here, all under 15, and the Vienna's actually here for the top 4. So lots of time here to make up that speed. We do have, this is the currently sitting 3rd place according to the splits out on course right now for this Vikings team. Absolutely doing an amazing job as they are being chased very closely by Zia Spagna. Locals just ahead of them on those time splits as they head through 14.6. So they're going to have 5K until their next time split out there for these Vikings now. So back in with the espresso crowd, though, as we head back on over toward that feed. And it looks like on this feed here, we do have a couple more updates. And Peel Auto, again, showing why they took things down last week. 12:22 is the time they're over that first 10K. So absolutely flying there. Race 3R right on the heels, though. Only a 7-second difference here at this point.
Check.
So, and we do have you, Dave. We do have you, Dave, but I believe you still are unable to, to hear us. So I'm going to see if I can jump in with Dave in another way. Jump in. I'm just going to have him jump in Discord and a Discord channel, and we'll be able to pick him up through that. A little bit of patience with us, everybody, as I work out what's happening with Dave's side of things. I'll go ahead and grab him in a call here real quick, and we'll see if we can grab him if he is on for a Discord call, and he'll be able to at least jump in with us here. So that'd be really great. We'll see if he is able to do so soon as we possibly can grab him here. So looks like he's also needed over there, and don't need the video, do not need, and we lost him here. So as soon as we can, we'll be grabbing Dave back in for the call here. Dave, I think we got you here as Gonna go ahead and unmute you. Dave Towle, can you hear me? Dave Towle, can you hear me?
Okay.
Dave, we got you, Dave. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and soldier on. We're going to soldier on as we obviously having some technical difficulties. Again, apologies, guys. Trying to do this across the interwebs, and today it looks to not be working out on today for the call. So we'll see if we can bring Dave in, perhaps back in through the call over on the main video chat, but if we can't, we'll be just hammering away here with the next 15K of the birthday stream here for WTRL. So, and let's go ahead and jump back in with some of more of the riders out here for the Bad News Bears is what we're going to be looking for, as I believe they are out on course here, hammering away. And Bad News Bears, definitely ones to be watching out for out here today. B&B, I believe we've got amongst them some of their stronger riders. Let me see if we can find them out on course here. Been a little bit difficult on the day as well. Covering Team Time Trials, patience with us here on this side as well, you guys, because it can be rough sometimes if not all of the riders are bunched up, obviously, and TTT mode with the tools, not always the easiest to find them on course, but we'll see what we can do here. We do have Steve Milliken here now. It looks like hanging out in the pack here. This is going to be Zone 3, waiting to take off out on course, as you can see. So there's another zone just starting. This is part of what we were talking about earlier with the riders and how they get out onto the course they're waiting for Zone 2, Zone 3, all between each one of them. BTC now jumping on a course for Zone 3, just starting their ride. This is going to be a part of another zone taking off out on course. So we also have Brett Boniface, I believe, here for the dropouts team. Let's see if we can jump in with them as they take off out on course as well. Tibor here, it looks like. Okay, Madsen now. Lucy Charles is also on course. We'll see if we can jump in with them in just a moment. But here is now I think we're going to just have to stick with the Volendam for now. We'll jump back in with the ladies side of things, though, here in just a moment. I'm going to try one more time with Dave. Dave, can you hear me now, bud? Dave? I'm going to go ahead and try and refresh the call on my end with Mr. Towle, and we'll get his voice back in here in just a moment. For some odd reason, it does look like we're having a little bit of a connection issue to him as well. So that's most likely what's going on there. For some reason, not exactly sure why the call's having trouble there, guys. So back in with the ladies, though, as you can see, it looks like hammering away with V Compton, the Vikings. We'll get the splits up on screen here for you for them as they make their way around course, and it looks like still not quite to that 10K to go, or that 20K banner here. Almost about halfway through their race, though, at this point. We're going to see if we can go ahead and move forward, though, and find the España. The current leaders on course is going to be LD Robin Hood, the Hedgehogs. We'll see if we can find the Hedgehogs out on course in just a moment here. But we also have a dirt team out on course here now, did they jump into the Vienna? This is interesting to see. This was in the E category. So it does look like they do jump into all different categories. It doesn't matter as far as the categories being closed or not. Interesting to see. The España now back out with them. And this is going to be the current 4th place out on course, currently sitting at that last time check, 15:47. We'll see if they can get a better time. The Revo chasers here, we're going to see if we find Revo out on course as well. TOG 3 right now. This is going to be another group here within the ladies side of things. Not populating just as of yet, though. I think we are having a couple of issues here with all of our data polls. So but then we also do have, it looks like, another dirt team. So many dirt teams out on course. One of the largest groups, obviously, in the world of Zwift. It looks like it's a co-ed team, actually, hammering away out here. It's good to see. And it's going to be the Merts and the Dirts then, with moms inside riding trainers and the dads inside riding trainers here. So back in with it looks like BTC now, hammering away as they make their way around 17K and 30.50. Here is the current time. So we'll see if Mr. Dave, see if he can hear us now. Dave, are you with me?
I'm back. I
Oh,
don't know
my
what happened there.
goodness.
Sorry about that.
No worries, Dave.
Yeah.
No worries at all. Probably just
What'd
a
I miss?
sound setting in somewhere in there for some odd reason. Who knows why? But once in a while, technology tends to not. We soldiered on. It got a little wacky there for a moment. To be honest with everybody out there in the broadcast, when doing a regular race cast, a scratch race cast, and all of the tech that goes on with it. Totally fine, usually just great. Doing the team time trial with the extra data and all of the other productions behind it without Dave is nearly impossible. And Nathan just found that out pretty quickly. So the TTT is a whole nother animal, mainly because there's so many things that we need to do right now in order to cover it. And there's a lot of points of contact there. So now it may be as, obviously we have time trial mode in game and ways maybe to cover that a little bit. But as we do get more and more updates to the game with all that WTRL is doing and what a huge event we have here, perhaps we'll get team time trial mode sometime in the future. But right now, clicking around through the companion app and trying to keep everybody entertained and talk at the same time can be a little bit difficult, eh, Dave?
Oh, no, I really appreciate. So you're saying I need to take some pulls then, right? I mean, this is a team time trial effort out here as well. We've got Martin up in Alberta, Canada. Calgary is where he lives. You're over there in Wisconsin. I'm here in Colorado, but we all have a job. And so every now and then you need me to talk. I understand. So, hey, we got some more splits coming in. I was talking about the PO Auto. Do you call them PO Auto or PO Auto?
I kind of just do both. Nobody's ever corrected me on that one. So
yeah, I'm going to go with PO Auto right now. They are on a 12.22. That's the hot split. No doubt about it. That's at 10K that we're talking about. This is in the espresso category. Our 3R Venga Boys team, just 7 seconds back there at 10K. So, I mean, that's right in the same neighborhood. Good job, Venga Boys. They're sitting on a 12.29, 12.51. That's the Ram Rockets. I was really sad to see the Race Across America getting canceled. Fred Bothling has been joining us on these broadcasts. He's one of he and his son Rick are the co-directors. They're co-owners of that event. They'll be back. Nathan, I think you should do the Race Across America, to tell you the truth.
Oh, boy.
Not solo.
That's a big call. That's a big call there. We'll have to wait and see on that one. That's Race Across America. Oh, my goodness. I mean, now a team sounds fun. A team definitely sounds fun.
Yeah, team would be cool. Our colleague at Zwift, Rasan Bahati, has done Race Across America on a team. So, it's a nice compliment. Hey, look at this. 2 teams coming together. This would be about 600 miles in. If you were doing it from California across the other way, this would be, looks like Utah here, doesn't it? Southern Utah. Right now we're watching. Help me out, Nathan.
We're looking at B Hare from the Cops team, as well as M Wall. G-Man is there as well. Tomlin. So this is the Cops team.
I thought it was Bad News Bears for a second.
I did too as well for a moment, but these guys are doing well here with a solid 13:08. So they're not too far behind there, that top it looks like spot, I believe, unless there's a second Cops team out on course. But I believe no, there's a Cops 9.0. So, I mean, I'm not sure if this is the Cops 9.0 or the Cops. Which Cops is this? We need better identifiers in game here for each one of these teams. But I believe this is the team that has the 13.08. But the current pace that they're hammering away at, it doesn't look like something that would necessarily be at the same level to even be close to the PO Auto there at that 12:22 as they're hammering away, looking to try and get through their 20K mark. So we'll have to wait and see if we do get an update on that. But looking through the current list out here and going to see if we can jump in as quickly as we can with DDC. Here are the DDC boys now. Dig Deep Coaching. They are out on course. We'll see if we can bring in their time. Didn't know that they were actually jumping in with us. They're 31 K in actually. So they've gone through both the check marks, but we do not have a time for them just as of yet. So I do believe our background, Martin is doing a lot of work, I think, right now in the background, trying to get some updates on these times. But at least we do have a couple of splits, as we do see the KISS Racing team there with 9.5 to go out on course. BL Auto current with a solid 12.22 there still with, it looks like 17.3. So a lot of differences between the distances between all the riders, obviously with 1 minute splits between them. But at least we got some sort of information though up on screen here to give us some solid splits, as we are seeing this Vikings Fenrir there at a 12.58. That's a B category ride? Is that actually, that is an insane, so that is an amazing 10K there coming from those Vikings.
Yeah, very quick for the Vikings. Wow. Yeah, sub 13. That would put them in 4th in the next category up, right? So they're having a heck of a ride out there. This is tough to watch, isn't it? 5-rider teams. That's a lot less fun than an 8-rider team. Well, I don't know. I shouldn't say that. It's not about fun. But you're going to spend a lot more time in the wind, that's for sure. I think operating in a 5-rider group, actually, it's interesting. You look at it as the Olympic discipline, Nathan. This was a 4-rider event. You see most often team time trials happening in World Tour events now, where it's usually 8 riders on the team these days that you're looking at. There's a big difference between riding in a team of 8 and a team of 4. That's for sure. This is
Huge
basically
difference,
a team of 4.
Huge difference. Yeah. So that's one thing I wonder about with the Team Time Trial WTRL. Maybe just a little bit of feedback. I mean, if you just let too many people in, at what point is it
Well, that's a great question, Nathan. I mean, when you're riding in a group in a road race, and let's say you're in a breakaway, and the group gets over 10 riders, I think that's the threshold. A group of 10 riders, you're not going to get 11 people to work equally. So then you start getting passengers, people sitting on. It's not about being a passenger in a team time trial ride, but you can only get so many riders rotating through. And I think 8 would be pretty close to that number of where you could actually say everybody's participating in the effort, not just riding in a group ride.
Yeah, definitely 100% true there. And I think the reality here now with Rafferty now making his way to the front, solid effort here coming from this rider, as this DDC rider Irishman here now 5.7 watts per kilogram here. Addison there as well now 4.3, and it looks like Smith here sitting in at 2.8. Look at the differences in watts per kilogram. Working very well together here, actually, as he takes a solid pull on the front there. 187 beats per minute. DDC here, I have to wait and see what their splits are going to be here coming in, but they're really doing an amazing job right now as far as the cohesiveness. We'll see if it ends up with a solid time.
They sure are.
But it's amazing cohesiveness out on course here.
Yeah. Really, this is well written. And Nathan, we're going to be going back and looking at more splits. I don't think we've got anybody yet. Actually, I think we will see riders looking at that 20K split. Again, all of these different categories out here racing 2 laps on the same course here. Nathan, you highlighted earlier how flat this course is. I mean, did you say 14 meters of elevation gain per lap? It's not much anyways.
Not much at all. Yeah, it was like 56 feet. So something like 14 meters, something along
not
those
even
lines.
20 meters. Yeah.
Definitely hardly anything.
Which really gives these teams an opportunity to find their flow. If we were to throw a Berg or a Cole in the middle here, you watch that. A team time trial team, it's one thing to be able to do this on the flat. When you start throwing in sharp little punchy climbs, it really blows teams to bits. So these teams, especially here in this format, the eSports format, really learning how to team time trial right now. This squad is putting on a clinic here. Just pushing. I love it. They're flogging themselves like rented mules right now. 49 kilometers per hour, Nathan, we're looking at. We were talking about Tour of Ireland a little bit earlier. Mr. Rafferty, go get him, my man, as we're looking at a mixed squad here, but dig deep coaching in full effect right now. These guys are flying.
Yeah, we're seeing a 44:19 total time here right now, 34.9 kilometers in. So they're going to be finishing up actually pretty quickly, I believe, in this. They're just about done here. 2K to go. 2K to go. Yeah. So this is just about over right now. And it's going to be absolutely time to put the hammer down here now as we're seeing 5.5 on the front now. And Gallagher now, Stephen Gallagher starting to make his way to the front. This is when they're going to have to start really ramping up. It's the last 2K to 1K. You start just going into VO2 max effort. It's not everything on the table. You're looking at about 5 minutes, and you got to really sacrifice for your team at that point.
Nathan, the whole goal is that all 5 of you start getting tunnel vision at about 50 meters to go. I mean, literally now the oxygen is not making its way into your brain. You've gone hypoxic. Look at the effort these guys are making. Credit where credit is due. This is how you do it, ladies and gentlemen. Team Time Trial 101. So now you're really emptying the tank. But you got to remember here, you don't split the group. And these guys are doing it perfectly. I wish everybody who is into the discipline of Team Time Trialing could watch this ride right here. Dig deep coaching. You've got my respect here. They are bringing it home with panache, Nathan. What are they sitting on? A 45. This is a very good time. It's not going to be the greatest time that we've ever seen, but this one's a solid ride being put together. As they say,
we'll have
Nathan,
to wait and see. They had to wait 2 minutes, though, right? So they had to wait.
Right. There could be
minutes.
An offset, as we call it.
Yeah, there's an offset. There is an offset. We'll get
Yep.
the official times as they come across the line in the results here. So when we do get the results, we're looking at the course record. Every team has to wait. The first team to go, and I believe this was the first team to go, unless they caught another team out on course. But in this category, the C category, this is the Espressos from the C category, and they are hammering away here, and they may beat
really
that time. Actually,
yeah.
It's very close here. I believe it's going to be underneath that 46, and I think Cicli Stefanelli Triathlon might be unseated here in this course record.
So good. Thank you for noting that, Nathan. Again, that offset is something we always have to remember. We've got our man Martin up there in Canada who's working all of the data for us. So we will have good answers for you. We could be, and I love that, we could be watching a world record ride going on right now. Again, dig deep coaching. Why don't we follow these guys all the way home, Nathan, huh? You get a good look at the landscape here as this team now, this is where, I've used that joke.
There it is, 47.06, 47.06. So I believe
Just
maybe
outside.
a 45. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. I'm not positive.
All
I'm getting some mixed messages come through. Now, again, very complicated. The reality of the way that they put this together, that is absolutely the reality of how it's put together here with the boys over. They do an amazing job. It's a very well-oiled machine when it comes to how they put this whole race together. That's for sure. Back in with the cops here with Towle, now 2.0 watts per kilogram. B Hares there as well. They're 31.2 kilometers into their race. So they've just got another 6K to go or so. We'll be waiting for the updates here in the results as riders continue to come across the line. I do believe this will be updating for us for live results. No data available currently at the table, so I have a feeling we're getting some updates here in the overalls in just a moment. And as soon as we do, we'll bring in how things went down for the boys there in the DDC team. Cops here absolutely hammering away with this 6K to go or so. We'll see if we can jump back in with the ladies, though, as they are out on course, and this is going to be the Revo team. They were the first ones out on course with 7K to go. They're in their final kick here now as Team Revo. It looks like, what's the front hashtag here? This girl can. This girl can.
This girl can?
Yeah, this girl
like
can eat. Brinkley at the front now, hammering away 2.9 watts per kilogram. Carly Williams pulling on through, it looks like, as well. Carly, I think, did a cool little post, actually. If I'm not incorrect, there's so many Williams girls on this team, actually, that there's like 3 or 4 of them. And it's like, they're all related, I think, too. And there's a cool post, though, of her out in the lawn hammering away. Done by Revo recently, and getting outside while doing her indoor training, which is always interesting. It's outside indoor training, so cool to see Revo here hammering away. They've kept it solid here. They haven't dropped anybody off. Now, Dave, is that being too nice to your teammates, or are they all really in the same level? I mean, that's always a question when you see this many come into the line. And is it worth it to not drop people off this close to the finish line?
That's a very good question. It really is. It would defy odds for it to have 10 riders who are all within 2% of each other, right? I think that's fair to say. So maybe a little of both out here, but either way, I'm impressed. This Revo team, Nathan, you make a really interesting point there, though. But if you can find, I mean, that's really the tricky part here is finding 6, 7 riders whose skill set closely matches yours. Because when you're on a course like this, you don't need a featherweight climber here. You're looking for, that wattage cottage type rider. And these ladies certainly, I think that would apply to them. Watching Watmore right now is we're watching the entire team as they're rolling in, Nathan. A little less than 6K to go to the finish line. They're going to have a really good time here. It's not quite going to beat that. It's 52 flat. 52 minutes and not even a second. It's almost a second, actually, but right at 52 minutes. That's the benchmark time for our women's Vienna category. How did they
Great
choose
little
Vienna
comment coming
for
through
that?
here, Dave. Great little comment coming on through here, and it says, I agree with you. Poor Possum, nice name over there on YouTube. Saying need a full map so we can see where everyone is, or at least
Good
the
call.
real time splits between teams. It's a great call, and Poor Possum, have a little patience. Just as a heads up to everybody, have a little patience, and we're definitely there's you guys. We are with you on all of that. Keep bringing those comments on in, bringing the feedback. We are listening, and we are working hard day in and day out to get those things that make the most sense for this coverage as quickly as we possibly can for all of the races. So obviously the one step at a time. And as we get our time splits running well, as well as our results running well, we will, obviously get those all coming to the races as much as we possibly can. So looking through here, it does look like solid result here. Still waiting for DDC. Perhaps DDC was a part of another, they should be updating here, though. And I believe they were in the Espresso now. But it looks like we're waiting for the updates still here coming on through from ZwiftPower.com as fast as we possibly can. But a couple more comments coming on through here as we are seeing Martino giving us some shout outs here, as well as, yes, Poor Possum, you did just get featured over on the broadcast. So great to see. We love the comments coming on through. Keep them coming. We absolutely
really
love them. We're hearing a great comment coming on through from Tim Faulkner as well, saying great ride to the Dig Deep coaching boys, as well as DDC went out 2 minutes plus 2, it says, from Kev Stevens. So I believe DDC did take down the latest course record.
Which category again was that in?
That's going to be the espressos. DDC is most definitely the espressos. Yeah, up in that A category. The red is going to be the way that that I remember it is by knowing it matches the same categories as the colors, at least, as you would with the usual, except for the Viennas. The Viennas are black, so that is not an E category purple. But it definitely matches across the board otherwise between all of the categories in Zwift. Pretty much, right? Am I correct about that? I think the D category is yellow. Yeah, D category is
there
yellow.
You go.
Yeah, we got that.
You got it.
C category, well, light, that's kind of a C category right there. C category is like a light blue, but that's close enough maybe. Yeah. and then we've got the green with the B category there, as you can see with time splits up on screen here now. You can see Ram Racing is all done, it looks like here. Our split's not updating, so too bad to see. I think so we're just having a couple of data point inaccuracies at the moment. So we'll bring it all back in once I do get confirmation that things are good to go. With the data as it does come on in. At the end of the day, though, we'll get the update on the results, and that'll be the thing to be looking for. So can we take a peek at the Evo? It's saying the Evo squad. Ali Peckover, I've actually been looking for you guys for the Evo squad for a long time. I've actually been working on it. And for some odd reason, we are having a little bit of a struggle right now getting them specifically on the getting them on screen. But let's see. Is this the Evo squad that you're looking for? There you go.
I believe so. The South
There it
African
is.
monsters. Yeah.
Absolutely hammering away. So this is one of the Evo squads that they were looking for a little bit of coverage of. And ask and you shall
Good.
receive. And one of our feeds was being really finicky at jumping around to the right places. And we're just going to use this one, it looks like here, as it looks like it's being a little bit nicer to us. As it looks like they are hammering away. Solid effort here coming from Benin, as well as Zaza toward the front there. The South African, one of the stronger riders out on course, as well as Evo Vortex 2 here. The Evo Vortex 2, that's going to be the Zaza rider there. A Park is there as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the offset is going to be for these boys, but they are rolling here as well, sitting on 45 kilometers per hour. Tempus fugit, time flies in Latin. This team is flying, no doubt. This has been on Zwift. This has been a record-setting day, Nathan. Just about every category has seen a new fastest time ever being put up. I hope we see more here out of this wave that we're looking at. We've
And
got a
we're
lot
going
of
to see if
riders
we
that
can
are.
find the rest of this Evo. We're being told that there's more Evos out on course, so we're going to see if we can find them out as well. But again, the ability to find people quickly, not always the best here in these multi-category events. So we're working on it, definitely, everybody, working with two Zwifts here. But as quick as we can, we will get them out on the feed. So appreciate all the comments coming on through, though, for sure.
Yeah, I love that people have the interest, Nathan, and I really appreciate the job that you're doing there. We talked about that the other day, or I did, about you're not only doing the commentary, you and Martin are running many different machines and producing, directing, and commentating. It would be unheard of for anybody to handle as many tasks as you are in the actual, in real life cycling broadcast world. You're incredible. So, yeah, and as far as that feedback goes, you can see my Twitter handle on there when it pops up. I am always interested in hearing any advice, information, constructive criticism, or even just criticism. I'm at this point now happy to hear your comments on what we're doing here. I've got a lot to learn. I know that, so I certainly enjoy the feedback. It helps a lot. So, all right, hashtag this girl can, ladies, impressive. They're going to be hitting the finish line very, very quickly here, Nathan. This is a international squad, comprehensive squad that we're looking at, and they are bringing it home with full force right now, galloping here into the final few meters. This finish line comes up very, very quickly at this point. We'll swoop around this bend. Good job by Rodriguez there. I think we've got around 8 nations represented in this squad. All right, ladies, bring it on home.
Yeah, absolutely flying here now as they're going into the final K. This is definitely going to be where things start to ramp up here now with these riders. So we'll see if they can get a couple of extra seconds pulled out here now in just a moment as they make their way to the line now. I believe I can jump back in with it looks like Milliken's out on course as well as a few others here. We'll jump back in with them after the ladies do finish up here. It's going to be through the sprint section. There's the little turnaround here, so this is kind of cool how they do the full Fuego Flats. It comes back into where you always see a finish here on this section, of course. Into that final sprint, and now we do see it ramping up with Solomon to the front there. Then it's going to be Downey now from Revo now, up and out of the saddle again. It's Puritan. Not sure if Puritan's actually a part of this squad. I think just jumping in amongst them perhaps. Downey now, 4.3. Hey, Lee here actually, solid little sprint here coming from an American now. But Downey here going to let that go, it looks like here, as I believe they're just at the rivet right now. Obviously been trying to push this kind of pace for over almost an hour straight. 56, almost 57 minutes is going to be the time. And I think for not going to have a record broken here, though, as the Purple Armada earlier this morning was a 52-minute total. So I believe they're going to be, with that 2-minute difference here, it's going to be 54. And this was the first ones out on course, I believe. So solid effort here, though, coming from the Revo ladies as they make their way across the line. Back in, though, on the espresso side of things. Oh, excuse me. I believe Milliken's actually riding in the Frappe class here. But WTRL boys out on course here, hammering away their 18K into their race. This is going to be the Zone 3 category, actually. hammering away right now. So solid results coming in for them so far. We'll see as the splits do update on course. See if we can get some results up in here for everybody as we're waiting for those to update here. And I do believe we're starting to see some new results jump onto the screen. I'll see if I can get something for everybody here in just
good.
a moment.
Nathan, with 413 teams and 2,500 racers out here, so much data. It's incredible to me that we're able to so quickly get all of this processed. So I'll give you a moment there to work through what we want to talk about as far as we're populating our results here. We still have riders who are just getting going at this point, as well as we're looking at a team that's not even halfway into their race right now. WTRL, that's the World Tactical Racing League, our host club. I think that's the best way to put it. They do such a good job. Exciting things to look forward to with Team Time Trial Racing as well. Nathan was highlighting at the beginning of the broadcast that there's going to be an invite-only format to look forward to. We're happy birthday to WTRL as well. 52 weeks of putting on these time trials at the very highest level. So job well done. Looking forward to what we've got in the future as we're rapidly coming up on 20K in now for our WTRL team here, another international squad.
Just want a quick shout out as well to the race next week. Definitely want to highlight that because there's a reason also to all of that, some rhyme and reason to the centralizing of the racing and the broadcasting with a Premier League, which we'll be launching next week, and knowing exactly who is in there, and with it privatized and only those riders in, we can then make sure that we follow all those riders and have a much cleaner ability to find them out on course. Because one of the hardest things when it does come to casting Zwift, and if you're just getting into streaming, and I've seen lots of people actually in lots of different organizations recently jumping out here and covering races, and that they're getting lots of questions in the background. Actually, I've got probably like 10 messages asking, Nathan, how do you do this? How do you do that? How do you do this? And so, making sure that you are set up with these riders followed in the companion app, one of the main ways to do it, so that you can then click across to them through the category, making sure the categories are set up the correct way with the race organizer as well. This right here is probably the most complicated, though, when it comes to having multiple different categories, starting in different categories, starting all over the place and following each and every one of them. And because of that, having that Premier League is going to be absolutely great next week, as we'll be able to really be able to follow things a lot easier. And we'll also be able to highlight the strongest riders out there for their amazing efforts at the pinnacle of what is going to be time trialing out on Zwift. Do have a cool little comment coming on through from Ashley Cameron, and she's saying most teams coordinate with each other to pick the jerseys everyone has. It's a great bit of information because not all the teams do have their own kits in the game. It's not available since they have to hand coded by the developers of Zwift, and that's right. It's tons of heavy lifting actually in order to get a
Ashley
kit
must
in
be
game.
Ashley must be a Zwiftcast listener, I'm going to guess, because that's where I got that information from. When you think about, how long it takes for one person to sit down and code in a jersey, it's an afternoon of work for someone there at Zwift. Thanks, Ashley, for your insight.
Yeah, it's a couple of hours, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Without any
To me, that's an
without
afternoon.
any snacks. Yeah. And so Cowboy Cat Ranch Zone 6, I believe there'll be people streaming it. And that's one thing I want to take this comment and I want to point you to twitch.tv Zwift to the game. So you head on over to twitch.tv or you head on over to YouTube, search up Zwift at that time. You will find plenty of people, I would believe, streaming it. With over 400 teams, there's got to be at least a few out there streaming it. If not a caster, there'll definitely be there'll at least be somebody streaming it from their personal point of view. Get out there, support the streaming world of Zwift. As the game grows, the viewership grows. It brings the game up in all of the algorithms on all the platforms. I think every day at this point now, it doesn't matter what time of day I've logged on Twitch, I have found at least 2 to 3 people streaming Zwift. At prime time, which is right around now, I've seen up to 20 plus people streaming the game. I know that doesn't sound huge to the rest of the gaming world. You've got thousands streaming Fortnite, etc. But I'm talking, this is from a year to 2 years ago. usually not a single soul. There's a huge blow up now in the interactivity of this online world and indoor cycling.
It's interesting how COVID just accelerated everything that's been happening with esports out here on Zwift. Good shot right there. One team heading out, one team heading in as we roll them through here. But yeah,
here
Nathan.
On, we actually have swapped up the boys that we're looking at here. This is Zone C. Somehow, I think the reason I'm having trouble on this feed is I somehow ended myself up in Zone C. And so my setup is like a little confused about, well, what zone are we in? What race are we in? I'm not sure how to click around here. So I think I'm kind of stuck a little bit right now on Zone C. So perhaps we're being told something. Maybe we need to go check out what Lucy Charles is doing, because I do know she is out on course.
Ooh. So Lucy Charles is a perennial podium contender in the world of triathlon. Absolutely the cream of the crop when you talk about Lucy Charles. Really cool to see her back out here, the British rider that I'm sure is recalibrated herself, getting ready for what is now Tokyo. It's so weird to have an Olympics in a odd year, right? But Tokyo 2021. So this team's going to be fun to watch, no doubt about it. If you want to look, Nathan, at what nation really could say it's the birthplace of time trialing on a bicycle, I would say the United Kingdom. That's where it all really started. There's an era where they used to have to race, I guess you'd call under the dark of night or illegally there. You weren't allowed to race on the roads, and they would do these sneaky time trials. And that really helped, popularize the sport amongst that core group. Really interesting time in history, but the Brits have always been exceptional time trialists. There's something about Britain and cycling that happened. A lot of that has to do with the Olympic movement, going back to the London Games, and the British have used lottery funding to help get more folks into cycling, and it is paying off in a major way in the United Kingdom now, where it's not just the racing. There's so many people on bikes, and certainly we have a lot of friends. Zwift has a huge presence in the United Kingdom as well, and it's always nice to see a strong team like this with a world-class triathlete in this case, that being Charles Barkley there.
Looking through, it looks like we have found Lucy Charles out on course, obviously, and it looks like Bartlett's out there as well today, the professional triathlete. So P. Edwards there for the Choppers. Massey is showing up. So 4 ladies here. They're going to most likely smash this course record. They're 34K in at the moment. So we'll have to wait and see how things develop here. 310 back is going to be a South African lockdown team, it looks like, hammering away. So currently putting out a solid 3.7 watts per kilogram with this team. But now 6.3, now 4.6 for Massey at the front here. Now great to see world-class triathletes here hammering away in the discipline that they're the best at here. 34, they've only got 3K to go. So 47... We're seeing 33 here currently. I'm not sure what their start order was out here today, but the time to beat was the Purple Armada there, as you can see. We'll see if chat can help us out for when the time was that they actually started at. As you can see, a Purple Armada, 52 minutes is the time for them. We're seeing 47.54, 3K to go. It's at least a 2-minute time takeoff here, at least, maybe even more. So we'll have to wait and see how the Choppers come across the line here, and if the AHDLRL Purple Armada 1 can hold on to that 52-minute. But not sure, even with 8 riders here up against these 4, not sure that's going to be happening.
Yeah, I mean, these benchmarks have become, exactly that, extremely hard to overhaul. And that's, when you look at what we're going to be watching over the next few months, these world records will start becoming very infrequent that you're going to see new best times out here. The quality of the racers, the motivation, it's at an all-time high, no doubt about it. So watching, again, Lucy Charles right here, her team, only 4 riders, and... What have we got here? Oh, Ollie Peckover. Again, outstanding athlete. The reason over in the UK we all have the course codes is so the police don't know where about the events
so that they
were taking
didn't
place.
know where the events were taking place because it was illegal to do.
Yeah.
So it was like an time trialing in the UK was an underground movement at that time. in order to
Ollie
keep.
is referencing what I was just talking
Yeah,
about. It did
exactly.
make
What you
sense
were
to me
just
for a
talking
moment.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He was referencing what you were just. No, right now people are evading the police to do their time trials, Dave. That's what's
Exactly.
happening. That is
Well,
what's
you
happening
should.
right
That would
here.
be
We need that game
Ollie.
mode. We should have a
Yeah,
police car
where you
chasing
have a
them.
cop car
Old
right
school.
behind you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We need old school British. UK
The
time
Keystone
trialing,
Cops,
the
right? With the,
underground, and we can call it the underground mode.
you get faster times if you're being or chased by a lion or a tiger or something. That would certainly be a way. Actually, I've seen that before in North America. We have bears that will often you'll encounter when you're riding in. At least around here in Colorado, they're kind of all over the place these days, which is super encouraging. But they will absolutely. You want to talk about getting an adrenaline spike? It's really hard to do when you're 50 minutes into a team time trial. But one way we could do it would be, well, I guess we could have a dinosaur come out and chase you. This is Watopia after all. So they're coming home now, though, Nathan. If I remember correctly, isn't 52 minutes flat the time to beat here? I think we were just talking about that. This one's going to be. I think we might be looking at a new world record here, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, we're definitely. I think
Nathan.
we're gonna have it here
Yep.
because there is at least a 2-minute gap. At least
they've got
this
it.
is the first, and they're number one out on course right now, which tells me they were the first ones to start. I'm not positive about that. Obviously this team
Either
could have
way,
caught plenty
right?
of them out there, so I believe it's gonna be 2 minutes for them, which is still a huge amount of time, and they might come in underneath the 52-minute mark. Actually, the current time record here is the AHDR Purple Armada at 52, almost flat. Look at this. They're going to come in under
Barkley.
52 plus 52 subtracted. It's going to be around a 49 something, 49.15, 49.20. Crazy shattering it by 3 minutes. Lucy Charles up and out of the saddle, 9 watts per kilogram, 180 beats per minute there. Amazing
Nikki
results
Bartlett
from Charles.
Yeah, Bartlett, Massey, and Edwards. These are the choppers. Again, Barkley, Bartlett, Massey, and Edwards. That is the gold standard. No doubt about it, Nathan. Either way, we just watched a command performance. Ladies, a tip of the cap to you. Fantastic.
Yeah, amazing job.
Nathan, this is my favorite hour of the week now, is doing the World Tactical Racing League team time trials. Absolutely awesome to see these kind of efforts, the cohesiveness of these teams. We're watching a whole new level out here today. But that 52 minutes, that's history. The Purple Armada will be back, but they better bring their A game because
I think the Purple Armada jump out there early morning. So they jump out there early morning for us. It's going to be evening for the AHDR, for the Aussie. They're what are they, 12, 14, I don't even know, 16 hours ahead, some crazy number of hours ahead of us. They're in the future, the Australians. And so they got a chance, to set a time up front. But it's kind of fun in some ways because you have the situation like later in the day where like, well, I saw what that time was. I got to prep. Okay, this is what we got to beat, and you got to plan it. I kind of like how there can be this planning and watching the times change throughout the day amongst each other. So pretty amazing to see how that's working out specifically with this. Now coming across, it's going to be Verloop here now for Team LCC. Lockdown, completely South African team here now. Hammering away, it looks like, these men's team now. Absolutely love the name there. LCC Lockdown South Africa. Now with a 5.2 on the front here, coming into their final kick, and probably a solid time here coming from them in the espresso crowd as they're pushing over 5 watts per kilogram.
There you go. It's weird, Nathan. I saw one German flag for a moment. That was a rider they were passing, wasn't it? So you're going to see some, again, really encouraging any of the solo riders to not jump in with the teams. I always think about the movie Breaking Away, right? When Dave Stoller tries to ride with the Italians. That did not go well. I think they stuck a pump in his wheel, right? So think the same thing. Every now and then you're just not supposed to be integrating that group. So right. So that was the lockdown team out of South Africa. We were with, but yeah, we're going to see now a majority of our teams have either finished or into the final 5,
Yeah,
10K.
32.2K here now at this point. I think we're also watching some of Zone C. I did get a lot of people requesting, Zone 3 out there today. With lots and lots of teams. Obviously, over 400 teams out here today. And this is the packed zone for sure, 2 and 3. So good to jump in here with them and get their race out on course here. We're still waiting for results to upload to load up here. If we do not get them, apologies everybody, and you'll have to go to WTRL for the post race results. I have a feeling that we're having a couple of issues in the background with the data, and because the way that this works, all of the results are hosted on WTRL with WTRL. It is not just heading on over to Zwift Power and seeing what the time is there because of the differences of the with the time gaps, how everybody starts. If you're unfamiliar with this, WTRL World Tactical Racing League puts on a team time trial every week on Thursdays. They've been doing it for a year. The riders wait in the pens for 2 minutes and then allow the other riders to go. The other riders that have maybe just jumped into the event who are not a part of the event. So everything's organized and registered beforehand. Everybody is given a start time. So all these emails go out and let people know, here's what your start time is this week. It's absolutely amazing how much work that goes into this. All the emails go out. Everybody knows what their start time is, and everybody communicates within the group to wait in the event. So it is an event that's scheduled in Zwift, but everybody waits at that start line for the event to start. Everybody goes off that's not a part of it because they don't know that they're supposed to wait. And then 2 minutes later, the first team goes. A minute later, the next team goes. A minute later, the next team goes. And so it's a very well-oiled machine here. And this just speaks, Dave, doesn't this speak to the Zwift community? I mean, think about the kind of organization that goes on between everybody. And I mean, that for something about that just warms my heart to think how charitable it almost is to each other to be that. I mean, obviously, they're hammering on each other, just wanting to demolish when it comes to the results. You know what I mean? There's this competitive spirit, but amongst that competitive spirit, the kind of like working together that has to go on to make this event happen in the community, it's amazing. Like, where do you see this kind of stuff anywhere else in an online platform?
Well, you would know better than I for sure, Nathan. I know you're involved in a lot of, you're a gamer as well as being an athlete, and you really do embrace all of those different elements that make this so special. But for me, I come to it from the community part of things, not the gaming part of things. You can see that, obviously, right? And I am more than impressed. I was talking about constructive criticism and feedback earlier. Well, all of those things are being done with a gracious touch by people that I've encountered in this platform. And if we want to get better, we do need that feedback. If you could give feedback, like a great example is the pronunciation of names. If you could nicely let me know how you like to hear it, man, that goes a long way. I want to get it right. You want to hear it right. And if you ask in a nice way, it makes it so much more palatable to, you can ask however you want, and I'm going to try to get it right. But it seems like I don't have that issue. People are so kind. And yourself included, Nathan. There's a lot of enthusiasm. There's a lot of energy, but there's also a lot of heart. And I love the Zwift community. I really do. And you folks are that community. So thanks, everybody, for keeping it cool. Like Nathan was saying, that's, I understand. I listen. I follow the sandbagging, the issues that folks have. I know they're working hard to try to solve it. It takes time. You want to be fair. You have to look at the fact that, Zwift now has hundreds and hundreds of thousands of customers, and they're all looking for different things from the platform. So for those of us that are into the racing, the eSports element, it's another level when you look at what Zwifting is. And we're making the rules, not making the rules up as we go in a bad sense, but in a good sense, because we're going into uncharted territories with esports. And, people keeping a level playing field and, trying to make sure that what you see is real. It matters to just about everybody I've met. And I think that's really cool. And that's the only way that this is going to be successful, is if we can do it with kind heart and clear eyes.
I'm
There
seeing
you
all the
go.
chat coming on through here. We do have 2K to go for this team. It's maybe the last team that we cover on the day. But I do want to give some shout outs here. Everybody, just so you know, we are having a little bit of struggle with the live data, and just there is a reality that live data is everything in Team Time Trials. And so this is our second week covering this. We've been doing a big shout out to WTRL working with us in the broadcast to get a lot of this data live on screen. And we're pulling a lot of stuff here in order to make that happen. So as soon as we do get some updates on those, we'll let you know. But if we don't, it'll all be over at WTRL on their website for the results, and then later updated over on ZwiftPower.com. Let's go ahead and jump into a couple of the comments, though, that I'm definitely want to highlight everybody who's watching and the viewers as this team I'm not this Spanish team. I'm having a little bit of trouble. I don't
Let's
know if
go
it's
with
lack of
Tri-Rosaz.
Tri-Rosaz. All right, number 7. Tri-Rosaz,
Yeah.
number 7. Ladies team out on course. Good to see the Spania killing it here, as you can see. And Tog 5 there as well. So many Spanish teams actually in this zone. Cool to see.
Yeah.
But we are seeing some chatter coming through. We're going to highlight a few of your comments as they roll on in. Ashley Cameron, obviously cheering on ATP Racing Vienna from the ladies' side of things. Question coming in from Poor Possum. Are heart rates mandated? Usually, yes. Heart rates are mandated in Zwift racing, but it's the organizers who say whether or not they are. So before you jump into a race, head on over to ZwiftPower.com or wherever they are pointing you for race rules. WTRL have their own website where they post the race rules. If it is on ZwiftPower.com, they usually put them there as well. We are seeing a couple of more comments coming on through. Matt Wheeler saying WTRL should get a huge amount of credit for pushing the race formats. You know, that's a great point, Matt Wheeler. Dave, I'm not sure if you knew this, but we used to do this kind of stuff before events even existed. There was a time when events didn't exist on Zwift, right? Like they literally didn't exist.
So you would just do a meetup, right? I mean, you just
there
say,
was no
all
meetups.
right, if you
there
wanna...
was no meetups. There was
How
no...
did you even do it? How
we
would
said
you even
we're
know
meeting at the banner. We said,
and so you'd see a bunch of dudes hanging out at the banner, right?
Yeah, we'd all meet at the start-finish banner on Watopia Forward. There was only Watopia Forward at that moment, right? And we all had a world clock, and we all knew that the world clocks were synced, and it was go when the world clock. And if you left before the world clock said okay, Strava knew, and you got DQ'd. And we did it all through Strava. There was no Zwift Power or anything. And that was those first race broadcasts were with a great job here. Now as the ladies come across the line, 36th place or so. Not sure on the time though.
And dusted. They break an hour. Breaking that 1 hour mark.
Great job there. Yeah, obviously. Yeah, that's actually a pretty solid result, it looks like, they're coming from this team. As we have TT
small team too.
Now.
Yeah, I think it was, again, these 4 or 5 rider squads really have their work cut out for them out here, Nathan. All right, this is going to be the TT Tri team coming home. Oh, yeah, a little ways to go here.
Yeah, so I mean, back in the day, this is really, really, it's funny how it's come full circle a little bit, though, with Matt's comment there with pushing the platform, because, the part of the conversation back then was we don't have events. Do we need events even? So we just started doing events without events, and it was like, oh, I guess people want events, and then events were made. So it's kind of interesting how
I remember,
I
remember Nathan talking with Charlie going back to 2015 or actually early 2016 when just heard about the Zwift platform, and I knew that racing was going to be huge. There was no doubt in my mind that people would be racing on this. I made that comment the other day about when the first bicycle was built. It was only 3 days before the second bicycle was completed. It was only 2 minutes before the first bicycle race took place after there were 2 bikes, right? You get human beings around bicycles, they're gonna race them. And the same thing happened on Zwift. I mean, you guys proved that. It was like the first fish that crawled out of the ocean. You guys were not going to be denied. You're going to figure out how to race bikes on Zwift, right? Look how far we've come in such a short amount of time. I mean, and again, I get it. Today wasn't perfect with the results, but they're figuring this out. And our man Martin is top notch. He'll get things sorted out for you here. We'll get all of these times up pretty quickly. I'm sure of that.
We've definitely thrown a lot at WTRL in the last 2 weeks. They've done a very, very well oiled machine, and I have a feeling that perhaps some things happening, with trying to deal with broadcast as well. So we've thrown a lot at them. Big kudos to them with how much that they've done here. And now we do have Tog 5 coming across the line here, it looks like, in this team time trial now. So, guys, we are going to, I think, leave it there. It was solid results by everybody out there. I wish I could bring results, guys. We've been waiting for them, though, for a little while here at this point. I have a feeling that we're going to have to wait. Maybe it could be till later this evening even.
I think they're there now, Nathan.
Oh,
Nathan, they just showed up. Yeah, take a look. I think Martin just got him up.
Did he just? Of course, I go.
Hey, they're working hard.
I say, we're not going to have anything, and then all of a sudden they're jumping on in. We're going to have to wait and see, though. I'm looking through here, and I'm seeing. Oh, and you are absolutely correct. So
Great.
It looks like Nathan's
here we go. Let's take a look.
Out there. Let's take a look here. Let's go ahead and we got a couple of the teams still finishing up their race out here today, and looking at it is going to be Team PO Auto again, dominating out there today, 45-19. It looks like. Absolutely smashed it. It looks like out here today. Not sure if that's a new course record though. We have to wait and see.
I don't believe it is actually, Nathan.
No, it is.
Is it?
It is 46:10 was the time. 46:10 was the time. Yeah. So
look at this. That would mean that two teams, because the World Tactical Racing League Volendam team was only 21 seconds out of that time at 45:40, so they would have broken that record as well if PO Auto wasn't out there crushing it today. The 3R Venga boys race 3R, 46:57 for third. Kiss Racing team, they're going to take the fourth spot with the 47:40, rounding out your top five. Ram Rockets on a 48:01, and then it's Mark's team, Foudre Z2E1, Ram Racing, and the Cops then rounding out our top nine.
So, and just a quick shout out, everybody. It looks like only containing, I believe, Zone 2. I don't believe the whole of Zone 3 have been pulled in. I do know that the Evo team did get a 46:03, I think, or something along those lines, beating the record. So some of those who are in Zone 3 will not be in these results just as of yet, just so everybody knows. These will be updated, though, over on WTRL. This is mainly pulling in only from Zone 2. Vikings Fenrir here. Evo Vortex 48:22. Vikings, it looks like Jormungandre. Now with Vikings Sleipner, I want to say. And then race 3 are Bucks Fizz, WKG Torture. It's going to be Evo Vortex 2. SWAT Club, race 3R. And then Los Rabitos is going to be coming across line 50-44. That's your Frappes out there on course that just got finished up. Vikings Valhalla. 50-02 BAT, and then Team TFC Spitfire 53-02. Now, as far as course records go, let's take a quick look back here. I want to just double check this and see how things played out, because we had a course record beat in the Espresso, we had a course record beat in Vienna. Frappe, yes, Dirt Digglers get taken out here by the Vikings Fenrir, smashing the course record. It was a 48:58 prior, so there's almost a full minute. It's over a minute there, Dave. Smashed it there with the Fenrir.
We've seen, again, today will go down as a blue ribbon day on Zwift for so many teams. Congratulations across the board. Let's see how long these records stand, Nathan. It has gotten hyper competitive out here. A lot of credit to the World Tactical Racing League, folks. This team time trial format is an outstanding way to enjoy Zwift. This is throwing even more community at it, getting together with your friends. Some of these teams are racing in multiple time zones across the globe. Really good to see. Again, 52:02 for the Vikings Valhalla team. Credit where credit is due. That's one heck of a ride.
Martin was yelling at me in the chat. I saw that. All caps. We have results. Nathan, wait. Yes, it's just Zone 2. Okay. That's probably the update, because he is looking to collate all of the zones into one result but that probably had a couple of issues there. So I have a feeling, he tried to make something really, really awesome. And sometimes you put too many ingredients in the cake and it blows up in the oven. But Viking Valhalla did not beat the course record, though. It looks like the Pirate Juice DXB was able to hold on in the Frappes, actually, with a 51.31 this morning. So solid result there coming from Pirate Juice. ATP Racing 4, 58.51 was the time. Were they able to hold on, though? Because in this D category, how did it end up here? We are seeing, looks like solid ATP Racing 4 holding on there, because Viking Berserker and Bergen Triathlon Masters, they were not able to take down the time there from ATP Racing 4. So the Mochas here holding out from this morning, but this is the results from Zone 2 just now. Now, don't forget, everybody, we'll be back next week with number 53. This was the birthday stream, but the Premier League will be launching next week. Watch out for those invites to the private event. If you are in the, we're still looking at the number. We'll get you a solid number. We're looking at somewhere between top 10 to top 15. But for next week, there will be an invite-only zone that will be a private event that only those who are the top teams in the categories will be able to get into. So we'll probably be getting some questions, too, about who you are, what's going on with you, and trying to get some features for you out onto the broadcast. So that'll be a lot of fun, Dave. I think, having a little bit more behind the avatar because of that, as well as featuring those who are absolutely hammering it across all the zones.
It's an interesting mix, isn't it? Where the gaming element and the play-by-play, but also trying to introduce everyone to the riders themselves. Not just the stars, but the people that stand out, riders showing a lot of heart. I think that's our job. It's a ton of fun. I want to, Nathan, really, I was thinking about this morning. The goal here is to take people who might casually stumble across esports, watching racing on Zwift, and turn them into fans, right? That was always the goal in real life, was to take a passerby. Like, right, if you're doing a day of toad racing in Wisconsin, you would have the chance that people just stumble by. They're like, hey, what's going on here? They're like, oh, it's a bike race. And then as the bike races are doing their thing, as the commentator, you're supposed to, or hopefully, you're going to get people engaged with what they're seeing. And they start saying, oh, who's the Estonian guy? I'm Estonian. Or who's the team from Sweden? I want to see, that's what we're doing here, trying to let you know the people behind the avatars. That's one of the things. Yeah. Anyways, there's 100%. A lot going on.
Yeah, absolutely. The people behind the avatars are what make the race, though. That is the point, I think, behind all of it here. And it's absolutely awesome to see how many participants we have. I believe there'll be Zone 5 and 6 later tonight. So make sure to watch out for the streaming. Now, we are not covering that, but make sure to watch out for those who may be streaming it. Next up on Zwift Community Live is going to be Koa Sports League. They'll be here. And I think I have to jump on the bike, actually, tonight. I have agreed to race. I have agreed to race the Koa Sports League tonight. I got to go eat. I haven't eaten yet today, so I need to go eat something.
I'm going to watch.
And I think we're going to be doing a live interview after the race as well, so that's going to be interesting. You want to watch Nathan suffer? That's what's going to be happening tonight on Koa Sports League. I'm jumping in with the A racers, so going to be interesting to see. A lot of fun to see. A lot of fun tonight here on Koa Sports. So, Dave, thanks a lot.
Have a great time.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll be back,
see you
obviously,
Tuesday.
Next week, Tuesday. Yeah, and thanks to all the viewers, as always, everybody. And if you're unfamiliar with all the places you can find this, you're just tuning in, we're on YouTube, Twitch, Mixer, as well as Periscope and Facebook. Hit those follow buttons, subscribe buttons, so you know whenever we go live. And our schedule is released every Sunday or Monday for the streams coming up in the week. So be on the watch out for that as well. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. As always, right on.